Who William G. Stratton is, but I am at his state park launch. Here's the launch. It's kind of haphazard. You got 4 launching lanes. Current runs you away from that walkway and the dock, so it is a pain in the ass. And I had to float my boat out and walk out of my trailer. But here's the boat ready for its Illinois River cruise. Like I said, I don't have my fishing seats on front. Don't need them. Trolling motor is there, and just have to mount my sonar, fire the motor back up again, and I will be good to go. I thought I'd take a little scenery shot while I'm going at a lower speed here on the motor. We're coming up on a dam up ahead, a dam and lock in Dresden, and there's a couple of barges parked along the shore there. I will have to turn around. I think we're right at the end of Heideke Lake. If you look at my chart, there is a lake. There's another body of water off to the right up the hill there. There used to be a nuclear reactor with a cooling lake there, or it was either nuclear or coal-fired. I forgot which one, but it might have been coal-fired. Anyways, the power plant is gone, but they still have the cooling lake there, and it is established for fishing. Occasionally stocked by the state, so they say. Luckily, there's no wind noise today, and the motor isn't making much noise, so I don't have to, not going too fast. But I've got a little timer going here, and it's gonna tell me every 5 minutes to change my motor RPM. So I'm getting along here. I think this is a 7-mile stretch from the launch to the dam area, and somebody wanted to know what a spillway was. I might see if I can take a picture of a spillway here when I get up to the end of it, and then head back and up and down the river. And right now I've got 6.6 hours on the motor, and it's considered broken in at 10, where you don't have to worry about holding a certain speed for a very long time. The whole thing is just in this break-in portion. It's just to vary the motor speed they say every 5 minutes. I'm doing 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm changing speed. I just don't want to let it idle or run fast at any one speed to help break in certain parts of the motor, put stresses on things, and wear and bearing surfaces, and seat the piston rings and all that good stuff. So all the good stuff the motors do. It's a pretty short break-in period, but they want you to do it just to make sure. So I'm doing it and kind of documenting it, so in case there's any warranty issues, and somebody's gonna try to say I didn't follow break-in procedures while I'm doing it. So my clock is going off here, so that means I've got to speed it up a little bit and head for another 5 minutes. Here we're coming up at the lock and dam in Dresden, and that plume of cloud that you see coming up, that's the condensation from the hot air going through the Dresden nuclear reactor cooling tower. It's just condensed moisture. Off to the right of the channel here, I can't zoom with my glove on here. Off to the right of the channel, you see a tugboat, probably with a tow, staging or going into the lock. And you could go down. Since I am going upstream, the lock will take that up to the next highest level. This river flows from east to west towards western Illinois and eventually into the Mississippi. And then I got to make sure I'm not going into too shallow of water here. Right now I'm okay. I got 17 feet according to the sonar, but I know that going up into this one area gets very shallow. I'm gonna navigate over the port here, and somebody was asking what a spillway was, and up ahead, outside of the water that flows through the lock when they put a boat, when they get boats or tows in and out of it, which isn't a lot. There's a constant flow of water that's controlled. Oops, turn him off. There's a constant flow of water that's controlled either by the overall level of the concrete spillway or some gates it might have in it that they can open and close to let more water through or stop water. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of, I don't want to get too close in there because I just don't know. I know it gets shallow in there. I've been up there with my other boat, but you could see a little bit of a boil of water just past this one mid-channel point. So if this river really got into a flood stage, it would just go right over that big concrete wall on the left. But in the meantime, there is an amount of water that's coming through the area on the right that has some gates that can be opened and closed. Try to get the best view I can here before getting into any shallow water. But that would be the basic mechanics of a spillway. It's you don't ever want to get too close to them with when there's water coming, a lot of water coming through, especially like that. But the one thing about areas like that is sometimes the fishing is really good by them, so people get drawn in there, but they don't follow the right safety procedures. They don't have life vests. They don't have an anchor line that they can get rid of real fast in case the water level changes, and bad things can happen. And if you happen to be on the high side of a spillway, go over it, you might get stuck in what's called a hydraulic, or it's kind of like a horizontal rotor of water that if you don't get right out of that area right away, it'll pull you in there, and the surface of the water at the top is actually coming back in towards that rotor or hydraulic, and it pulls things and keeps them back in there, and it just agitates things like a rock in a tumbler. And even if you have a life vest on there and it fall into something like that, there's no guarantee you're going to survive it if you can't get out quick, because you might get tumbled around constantly and or mangled in there with logs and other floating debris. So there's a lot of danger to be had around here. You got to have a lot of respect for it. So that's about as good a view as I'm going to get. I think I'm starting to get a little shallower. We're up to 9 feet now. So I'm going to turn around, head back west, and another view of the condensation coming off the Dresden power plant. Oh, there's an old rail bridge up ahead too. I don't know how often they run trains through it. I guess there's supposed to be a tender up in the house on top. I don't know if there is or not, but normally boats have the right of way over trains when it comes to navigation and tracks and roads, so they usually keep bridges like that up until a train comes by, and then they have to have a tender lower it. So there's got to be some signaling involved to tell a train that, hey, there's bridges up, stop until we get it down, something like that. But it's another one of those hazards. But right now it's up and out of the way, so it's no hazard to any of the barge and tow traffic that comes through here. So well, I'm going to get back to motivating, and I'll click the video in a little bit more. River scenery here. This must be, oh geez, there's a sign. This is nude beach there. I don't believe that, but wishful thinking probably. But there's some sort of campground. I don't know if this is privately owned, or I mean, it's probably pay for access, but the scenery. And one thing get to see here is commerce on this river. Since this is a navigation channel to move stuff around, there's what is called a tow coming down the river. That is either one or a series of barges that are lashed together, and with a large tug for a pusher, So people call them barges, but the barge is just what it's pushing. The whole assembly together is called a tow. T-O-W. And it's nothing you want to get too close to, because they're not going to change course for you, for one. For two, there's a lot of turbulence in back usually. You'll see them sometimes they're pushing a whole series of barges slashed together. They're really pushing, and there is some hell of a turbulence behind there. That one is the Chuvesco 1 according to its name tag. If you see, there's quite a lot of turbulence and wash in that wake. You don't want to get a small boat anywhere near there. And I'm just going to have fun just going through his wake, even coming up. Even though he's not going fast, he's displacing some water. And now even the shoreline, even though the shoreline is banked, there's going to be a lot of disturbance from that guy coming down this channel, and it's going to be waves for a while until it settles out. So that's what I got to deal with. I'm just trying to get some more hours in here. I've got 7.8 on my gauge now, so I'm going to try to get it up to about 8.5 or so. Whoops, there's the hour gauge. You can see it's still quite wavy just from that tow coming by, and it wasn't even going fast to load it up with everything, but it just moves so much water around. And that was just had one barge lashed to it. I can't imagine how bad it would push and disturb water with a lot more barges hooked up to it. So, well, I just got some waves to ride through for a while, and I'll get back to a little faster speed and get down the river a little more. And part of this video is going to be shot with the new GoPro I've got. It just show you some of the scenery here. This is more of a wide-angle lens on this guy, which is nice. We've got a couple of people in there's two separate people in these small little, I don't know how to describe them. It's like a little catamaran, maybe a two-person speedboat. One of them has followed me from the launch. I'm at least 5 miles from the launch, if not more. And then the other one, yeah, there's another one coming up back behind me there. Looks like a fun little boat, except these guys are probably not following too many safety rules. But hey, it's their life. And I'm still, whoops, I gotta reset my, I don't know if this camera times out or something. It was, my screen blinked out for some reason. I don't know what the deal was. You probably got some wind noise. I don't know how good you can hear me. It's not real windy out today, but there's enough to, there's another little boat going by. But so it was about as nice a day as I could ask for. Luckily that launch was open. I don't know if I can zoom in. We'll get there in a little bit. There's a real, I don't know how to work this damn camera. Still got a lot to learn on it, but it's got a I don't know if it's got a zoom function on it. There's a railroad bridge up ahead. Maybe I'll just float around up ahead here at whatever speed I need to, whatever RPM I need to for the next couple minutes, and then turn the camera back on in a minute. Yeah, we're closer to the bridge. I'm still about 200 yards away or so. Guys in the boat decided to just sit there and float along with the current for a while. Got some wind noise. I hope it's not too obnoxious. I'm going to eventually try to make a mount for this camera to have it up behind me over my right shoulder on the starboard side. So
You'll see south 1 coming down the highway. We'll be stopping, topping the barge on the dock at Cargill's and the OC.
Some of the commerce traffic on the marine radio. Got 8.4 hours now, so a little over an hour and a half to go. I think I'm gonna navigate about an hour up and then come back, start coming back. It'll be like an hour. It's gonna be about 10.5 hours or so. I'll get off the water about 2 o'clock, hopefully. Start getting home before traffic gets bad. But so far everything's still working okay. My sonar is, the mapping and the sonar is working good. This gauge is still giving me a good indications for what I installed it on. My only casualty so far, well, this guy I never really got working in the first place. There's still an issue I have to figure out. And then for some reason this fuel gauge died. I can't say why. It was working the other day. I have a feeling it's because of the original wiring harness. It had like a multi-connector plug going to it that the contacts might have had 2 wires going to it to make this gauge work, and one of the contacts might have gotten dirty. So because everything, the voltmeter has got power to it, all my other gauges and accessories have power, so there's no reason for it not to work except for bad connection in that harness. So something to check when I get home. Shouldn't be too hard to fix. All that gauge is new, and the sender in the gas tank is brand new as well. So there's another railroad bridge that's up, and probably not a lot of activity on it. It'll stay up until it's rain reports that come by. I have a feeling that big white tank is a wastewater treatment tank. It's usually what you're going to find along a longer river someplace with suburbs and population. There's plenty of them on the Fox River, and that river is kind of high right now, so it's got a lot of water in it, but when it gets low it turns into more of what I refer to as an effluence than water. It leaves a brown coating on your boat, it leaves a brown coating on your fishing line. It's just nothing that I really I don't really like fishing it when it's low. It's disgusting. Sometimes in the middle of summer, if it gets low, it can be quite smelly, but this isn't. This one, they seem to keep a higher level of water and water flow on it, because it does, so you can see all these barges parked along the shore staging. They're either filled or emptied and waiting to be filled. There's some saw a place by the launch where there is they dock a barge and they have some overhead tubing with a series of conveyor belts that feed, it looked like it was feeding grain into it. So that's about it for right now. I'm going to have to change motor speeds in a minute. I'm going to speed up a little bit, so I'll make more noise and more wind noise, and don't want to be filming. But this is my scenery for now, and other than that, I did see one, maybe 2 bald eagles. Could have been the same bald eagle twice, I don't know. Golden eagle that was actually starting to sit up and soar along the one bank, which is kind of weird. It was not a hawk, it was a golden eagle. And then some swallows. Some swallows came out from shore, and when I was going at about a 10-mile-an-hour speed or so, they were actually swimming along with the boat for about a minute, which was kind of amusing and cute. Okay, that's my cue. There's some swallows flying over now. That's my cue. I gotta change speed, so I'll be picking up the recording later. And I'm back recording with the phone again. We're coming back up to the launch, and there's some of the area industrial loading up. There's one tugboat there at Appaloosa I saw him earlier on the river moving the water around, and I've hit my 10-hour mark for my motor, so it's officially, I can take it and stop running at slow speeds, running at high speeds as long as I want to. Going forward from here, it is supposedly officially broken in at this point. And I just have to get the boat back on the trailer and get my arse home, but hopefully the dock isn't too crowded. I see some little, one of those little boats over there, and maybe somebody's tied up at the dock. We'll see what's going on there. I don't know exactly what's going on. I'll find out when I get there. So, but that's one of those. I think that's one of those little boats, or a different one. That's the guy's got a little bimini top up on that thing to keep from getting sunburned, I guess. So today was a fun day. Although I didn't take my hat off, I had a chance to feel the. I should have took my hat off for a little bit to feel the breeze flowing through my scalp. But there'll be hopefully some other opportunities this year to do that. I'm sure this boat's going to be out fishing a couple times this year, at least now that I know it's seaworthy enough to take out and not worry about the motor. And I will say, I think this motor gets probably twice as good a gas mileage as the old one, so it's a definite change for the better. Plus, it doesn't smoke. It's got a lot smoother idle. Starts up real fast. So all in all, I am very happy camper with the purchase. It brought some new life to the boat. It'll give me a chance to use it and enjoy it more.